At some point, I guess I'm going to have to change my sweatshirt, right? This is probably the third video you've seen of me looking exactly the same, including the same shirt. It's just the nature of bang, bang, bang opportunities. Today's opportunity means you and I get to go through all of what baseball has to offer. All right. Yes, people are still out there invested in the postseason, still betting baseball. But because I have offers below and above and everywhere here, from BetMGM to Caesars, 21 and older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER across the board, I figured, let me at least give you something right away. All right. So here's the deal. As you see here, I'm giving you a first bet. Whatever your first bet is, if it's up to $1,000 at BetMGM, or if it's your first $50 bet at Caesars, we've got links for both. In fact, DraftKings, whatever else, I don't care what book, Odds Shopper, we shop odds for you. There it is. Florida, money line today, at home against LSU. You're welcome. Just giving you freebies. That's all. Just a couple of freebies. So let's do this. You hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, please. We would love that. I will run through what we can. Now, we're going to use the DK interface, but as always, we remind you that we have a ton of stuff happening. All right? We're going to bypass this first leg of the Giants Rockies and get to the meat because we still don't have pitchers out there. But I would say for the first two games, the doubleheader here would lean over absolutely until we get in word as far as who's pitching for the Giants in the second game. I would actually lean over in both. So you'll see a number, I'm sure, maybe 10.5, something like that. I'm fine with it, especially if this is going to be bullpen games, respectively, one for Colorado, the next for San Francisco. So that's the lean that we have right there. A little lean action for the doubleheader. You ready? Okay, let's go. Bang. Let's start. So Boston, Toronto. This is actually interesting, I would say. Decent to pretty good, you would think, right? Pitching matchup here. A little left to be desired with Chris Bassett. I understand that. But you're still talking about a guy who has been able to limit the large stuff, right? Like just this heavy contact. But Chris Sale on the road, where do we trust right now? Like what's the trust factor for Chris Sale? Because if you're all on board with Sale in this game specifically, then I would just roll with Boston. If you have a little hesitation, you know that things are starting to, I mean, look, we're in the middle of September right now. So we clearly have a strong idea, especially with Boston, who is in the bottom. The problem, of course, is that Toronto is still chasing. So it's hard when you are on the other side of it, a half game out. Now, I know Boston's 7.5 out. First game here, we're just going to open up the two pitchers. 8.5 is where we'll start. Padres, A's, another one. I mean, just start to look at where teams are. San Diego has won 2 straight. They've got, I understand Matt Waldron on the hill, but still, this is a team that has playoff aspiration. The wild card is there for them, at least if they start winning some games. This is not an insurmountable gap that they can't narrow, close, or even overcome. So you've got new face, right? At least here, like not enough, I would say, not brand new, but both of these guys in Mason Miller and Matt Waldron are just not stretched out, if you will, enough. It's probably going to be one of these guys chased. The Oakland A's are looking, if you will, like every team at the bottom is looking to play spoiler. But when you won 46 games, can you take the Padres on the run line, please? Braves, Marlins, again, we're just looking at what Atlanta does best. They score runs and they win games on the road. They've got guys who have been hitting at an incredible clip. They ran through Philadelphia. They clinched the division. This is not a team that's slowing down, but what about Miami? Well, what about Miami? All of a sudden, a half game back. They've put together a nice little stretch of their own. Brian Hoeing, now you start to get to the specifics, right? Okay, you've talked yourself into Miami can stick in this game. They can hang in this game. They've got the talent at the plate. The good news for Miami is that Jared Schuster, 13-11 K to walk rate. 342x WOBA. Now, look, the numbers for Brian Hoeing are not that much better, but they're a little better. I think we're going over in this game. 9 is a number that I'm fine targeting. You see that there also. I mean, it's heavier on that minus 115. Both of these guys just stink. There's going to be so many opportunities right away. Dane Dunning and the Bib God in the house. Texas, Cleveland. So, offense. You notice we've been targeting some totals here. Not to say that we've gone over everything, right? We have an under in there, but this is where I think Tanner Bibby and Cleveland can gain some edge here. Texas, we know, is fully entrenched in this battle. They have a game lead on Seattle, who is just not giving up. Great if anybody has that Seattle futures ticket. And then the flip side here is just where Cleveland can gain ground. Effectively eliminated, but not technically eliminated. 11.5 back in the wild card. So look at this. Home dog, right? If you look at the road dog part of me for Texas, Texas is actually more entrenched in any battle than Cleveland. Cleveland just happens to have the better pitcher to start the game, but that shouldn't dictate to you who ultimately comes out on top. Again, Texas way more motivated than Cleveland, who at this point would need a lot. 11.5 back on that final one. Rays, O's. Reminder, you can use this. Look, I've got a 4 plays so far, plus 1486. You want to go on over to Caesars, go anywhere else you want. BetMGM, we have these deals here for you below. You're going to get $50 back 5 weeks, all right, on Caesars. And as you see here for BetMGM, $1,000 in bet credit. And you get to join the Discord. That's where Lindy lurks. So you get to hang with Eric Lindquist and bother him. And I see people all over. Like, I've got a 3-leg parlay that I took from Ben Raza that's about to smash in college football, we hope. 1 leg away, we hope. Rays, O's, Grayson. This gets fun, right? This gets fun for a team that is just dealing with the reality of being in a new spot. Baltimore has done some amazing. I mean, that run differential is just, it's ignorant how good they've been. But Tampa's just been better. That's the thing. And Tampa, we know we're used to this. So you've got Tyler, like you come in tied essentially, right? And you've got Glass now on the hill. So it feels like it's not, but it feels like a playoff atmosphere. I'll get back to that Yankees-Pittsburgh game in a sec. I know I see you like, hey, you skipped a game. Line's not up yet. I think, the problem is Rodriguez is striking people out, 25% K rate, but nothing else seems to be consistently working. So you may have some spots, you may have some spikes, but the overall 327x WOBA, 259x batting average. Here's the thing. Like, Glass now, very difficult to hit. We know the K rate is through the roof, and here comes Baltimore just sliding right now. I'm okay with the 122. You go to Odd Shopper, you shop that. Absolutely shop that. Astros, Royals, you can do that for free on our site. Astros, Royals. Yeah, I mean, it's Cole, right? Big Daddy Cole on the hill. Isn't this what we live for on the weekend when we get a Cole Reagan spot? Like, oh, yeah, give me that. Line me up. Okay, let's talk about it. Because I don't think JP France is simply enough to where it's going to mitigate or balance what Cole does. Cole Trickle on the other side is going to come out here and deal, because that's what he does. 30-9, I mean, technically 29-7 9-9 K to walk rate. He's not getting hit. It's just insane. So, again, this is where you can actualize a spoiler because you have the right spot. I get it. I just said a team with 46 wins can't spoil. What about 47 with the Royals? The difference is who's on the mound. And not only who's on the mound for the Royals, but also for Houston. That's the kicker. That's the big one. On the mound for Houston, JP France doesn't have – this guy's going to get rocked by Kansas City. This is a home win for Kansas City outright. And I guarantee you that if we lose this bet, we lose by a run. Like, this is chances. There's no locks or anything like that with me. I'm just saying, I guarantee that this is a close game and that we will have plenty of chances to cash this ticket and ultimately should cash that ticket. That's the biggest thing for me. We move on. Now, the Yankees Pirates game, let's touch on that briefly because, again, we're waiting. We do know that Ortiz is on the mound. The Yankees, though, watch out. And this is the difference between where New York is versus where Boston is. It's only a game. I get it. But Boston's dropped a couple. New York comes in. They've won 2 straight. I would look long and hard and see if there's still, because of what their record, 75-73 out of the wild card for now, like 6.5 back and all. I would look and see if there's any value with them on the run line. I get it. Ortiz, it's a road game, whatever. I think the Yankees have really good shot. You win 3 in a row. You knock out Pittsburgh. All of a sudden here, you start to talk about this team turning and really legitimately turning around. Washington, Milwaukee. Let's keep this sucker moving, please. You've got things to do. I understand. Not here to drag this down. But look, Corbin Burns on the hill. Does it really matter what's going on with Washington? Could I convince you otherwise that a team that is most likely going to be eliminated in the next day or so? I don't know the math, but they suck. They've lost 4 straight. Corbin Burns. The other element here would be to go under 8 or simply take the Brewers on the spread for the first 5. Nobody's getting to Corbin Burns. You don't have to worry about that. Milwaukee's fine. We know Milwaukee is still ahead of this division, but also just fighting right now for stability. They've won 7 of 10. Keep that going. You go into the postseason stretch playing exceptionally well. Give me the Tukey, baby. Give me the Tukey. Are you kidding me? We look at these starters that we get today. It's so rare that we get these guys lined up and the stars lining up as well. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? We had the Bib God in the house, and now we got the Took God. Come on. Screw Minnesota's Twins. I got nothing for this team. Pablo Lopez on the hill. Look, this is good. I'm just saying from a personal standpoint, I've been burned enough. I've been burned enough to know that a game like this that has, Twins walk, cruise, easy, written all over it. I'm not going to use the T word, but it feels trappy. It feels Tukey. That's what it does. Love this guy. Numbers aren't even that great, but we love him. Seriously, he's got a 22-16 K to walk rate. Holy shit, that's bad. But Pablo Lopez, insane, right? This is an opposite pick here. The entire world's going Minnesota. I'm going to take Tukey on the run line. Look, I would also encourage you to look at the first 5 and see what you can get from the White Sox on the first 5. Mets are cooked. The Reds, well, you know the story there, right? You've heard a story about Cincinnati. 7 back, up top. If you look at the wild card, holding on very tight, but still tied with Arizona. Don't mess around with this game. Don't mess around. Cincinnati cannot mess around. They have to knock New York. New York is just a pain in the ass right now. Speaking of which, I've seen this team. I understand what's going on right now. The whole thing with Aaron Nola, the back end of the Phillies bullpen. St. Louis is not good. Not a good baseball team. But as we saw, last night, even though the Phillies get the win, despite Aaron Nola melting down, Bryce Harper getting ejected, umpires, worst people on the planet. Absolutely. There's nothing redeeming, nothing good about having a human being behind the plate. It's insane. The umpires union is the only, or the MLB ump union, whatever the hell you want to call them, is the only and I'm not union busting or anything like this. I don't want people to be like, well, yeah, man, you said no. All right. You will never, ever, ever find or try and pin me down as one of your little groups because I don't subscribe to anything. I don't subscribe to my own family. You think I'm going to subscribe to your political views or some other bullshit? No, it's not going to be. But I love observing because everybody's a hypocrite, including me, and people melt. And I'm just going to say right now, Cardinals. Take the Cardinals. The umpires, it's their union. It's the only reason. They refuse because, people lose jobs. There's no reason for the umps to be behind home plate. Just zero. You have insane technology right now. Look at what we're doing with our technology across the world. And yet we have some piece of shit behind the plate, night in and night out, dominating the game with their own infusion of ego. Give me the Cards plus 100. It's the worst thing. I tell you, it's the biggest turnoff about this sport for me. And one of the few. But referees, officials, people get in the way. I get it. NBA, it's awful. I get it. But nothing compares to an umpire behind home plate. Absolutely nothing. They're terrible, and they're worthless, and they mean nothing to the game. You can replace them with tech that we have right away. Cubs, D-backs. Oh, hello. Now, I feel like we might have skipped over, right? We got Tampa, we got Pittsburgh, we got Cincy. Okay, Cubs, D-backs. Just told you what's going on with Cincinnati. How about Arizona? Chicago, I mean, it's just a tough outing for Steele. They've dropped 3 straight right now. Arizona gets that win. Zach Davies here. I'm no problem laying the 105 for a home win. 0. Tigers, Angels. Nothing here, right? Neither one of these teams, 13 and a half back, Detroit, LA, respectively, are going to do anything. People probably thinking like, this game's over. These teams suck and packing it up, all that. That's usually when the over sneaks in, folks, around this time. Keep an eye out for the over. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't even matter so much about these pitchers. You're not going to have a guy left in there for 6 or 7 innings unless he's got a no-hitter going at this point. I don't see that. Even with Detroit on the road, I don't see that. And I shouldn't say even with, because they've been better this year, and they deserve that. But still, that's L.A., Seattle. Let's go. Clayton Kershaw. What can you get from me, baby? Bryce Miller, though. Seattle is just right now, even though they lost and they dropped this one last night, it was a tough one, 6-3 to L.A., I still think Seattle is not the team consistently I want to fade. They've got bounce back in them. And this is a tough series against L.A., don't get me wrong, but Seattle has accomplished a lot this year. And you still see in this division, it's not unattainable by any means to be knocked off or even come back. 1.5 back. They're fighting for this division. They are absolutely fighting for this division. And I'm not saying that LA, but LA, they've got things wrapped. I'm going to take Seattle at home at a bounce back spot. All right. There you have it. Now, if you really wanted to, you could just use that. I mean, you could, if I got all of these right, you could put $1,000 on these at BetMGM as your first bet. Up to at least. Or you could just go to Caesars, sign up there, right? Put $50 on it. What is Steve? Nothing like having a 2-year-old kid getting you sick, right? Some of you are like, you idiot. Some of you are like, you have no idea how much worse it gets. And some of you are like, my son's only 1 or my daughter's only 1. Yeah, well, I can tell you. Good luck. Hey, good luck to you all out there as well. Always appreciate you riding with us. Thumbs up, subscribe. Let's have a day.